If you watch movies, chances are that you've come across the story structure we're about to talk about today because it is the most widely used story structure in Hollywood, and not just in Hollywood, but even in writing stories generally. Now, this story structure is my personal favorite, and it is the hero's journey. The hero's journey is largely influenced by Joseph Campbell's monomyth storytelling idea, which is largely used for a lot of mythological writings and stories, even in present day. So that even after it was popularized, because a lot of persons attribute the popularity of the hero's journey story structure to George Lucas, the creator of Star Wars, right? But even after it was popularized by him, it still maintained that complexity. And that was not until Disney's Christopher Vogler simplified it and broke it down into 12 beats. The hero's journey follows the three-act structure: Act 1, Act 2, and Act 3. But the difference is, remember in Freytag's pyramid, we said that it has 5 points, which is 5 beats. The hero's journey, on the other hand, has 12 beats. So you have 4 beats in Act 1, 5 beats in Act 2, and 3 beats in Act 3. Now let's get into details and let me show you how the story structure works and how you can use it to flesh your own story. The hero's journey story structure begins in Act 1 with the first beat as the ordinary world. It's basically an introduction to the ordinary life of your hero. Who is your hero? What are your hero's beliefs? What is your hero's fear, his weaknesses? What is his far-reaching goal? What does your hero's ordinary life look like? That is what you establish in the ordinary world. That's the first beat. You establish all of that, leading you to the second beat. The second beat is the call to adventure. Here you establish a call and a beckon on your hero to live his ordinary course of life. That life that he so much likes or is so much comfortable in. A call or a beckon comes on him or comes to him to live that ordinary life, to come on an adventure into a different kind of life. So that's what you write about in the second beat. The third beat is what is called the refusal of the call. Just as it is called, in this third beat, what you're going to establish is your hero refusing to heed that call or that beckon because he doesn't want to alter his life as it is. He's comfortable where he is. He's happy with where he is, or he's rather afraid of stepping into the unknown. So he refuses the call. I'm not interested. I don't want to do it. That is the third beat. Then you move to the fourth beat, which is the final beat in Act 1. That beat is called meeting the mentor. Here you introduce a character who is some kind of mentor in the life of the hero. Now the job of this character would be to try to convince and persuade the hero to take on this new adventure. Sometimes in some movies, this character could be maybe a senior colleague or a friend or a spouse or a father, a mother, or a sibling. But you introduce this character here, someone who tries to get the hero to go on this journey. The hero accepts upon being convinced by this mentor. That leads us into the fifth beat, now Act 2. The fifth beat is crossing the first threshold. The hero, having accepted to go on this new adventure, crosses from that, his former lifestyle or his former world, into this new world. So he actively accepts to go on this adventure. He's actively now on a journey to exploring this new world, right? Now you establish that in the fifth beat, the crossing the first threshold. Then you move to the sixth beat. The sixth beat is tests, allies, and enemies. Now in the sixth beat, because he's now in a new world, he needs to know who his allies are, he needs to know who his enemies are in this new world. But aside that, he needs to go through certain tests in this new world. He needs to pass through certain stages of tests to prove himself in this new world that he is in. After you've established all of that, you now move to the seventh beat. The seventh beat is approach to the Inmost cave. Now, because your hero has now passed all of these tests, he is now closer to achieving his goal. So the seventh beat, that's what you're going to establish. You are establishing that your hero has now crossed this threshold, he has passed this test, and now the goal he seeks to achieve is within sight. And now that your hero is close to his goal in the 7th beat, you lead the story all the way to the 8th beat, which is the ordeal. Here, tragedy strikes. Your hero's first major tragedy hits in this new world. This tragedy should be something that almost destroys the life of your hero. Your hero begins to question his decision to even go on this journey in the first place. Should he have just maintained his life as it was? Why did he start this journey? That is the ordeal, the 8th beat. But you don't end it there. Make sure that in that same beat, you write about how your hero overcomes that pain. So he overcomes it and decides to try again or to keep going. That leads you into the 9th beat. The 9th beat is the reward or seizing the sword. Now, he enjoys some kind of respite. Give your hero a win to celebrate. It might not be his overall goal, but give him something big to celebrate. Something big happens at this point in the story that almost takes his mind off whatever he had experienced before, the tragedy that had happened, the ordeal that had happened, right? You establish that. Give him something to celebrate, but let it be short-lived because the story will lead from there to the 10th beat. The 10th beat is the road back. And with the road back, another tragedy strikes. This time around, it is so heavy that it can almost destroy your hero. And now he's back again on the ground. Now your hero realizes that what he just won or the win he just enjoyed is not all there is. He has a lot more fights to fight, a lot more challenges to conquer. And that whatever he had just enjoyed, whatever victory he had just enjoyed, is just temporary. Then we move to the 11th beat. The 11th beat is the resurrection. Here, your hero decides to face that final challenge head on. You already established in the 10th beat that there are still challenges, or perhaps one major challenge he still has to defeat, even after going through all of these different stages of test and different stages of reward. Now, the 11th, which is the resurrection, is where he faces that challenge head on. This one now is a do or die affair. Your hero decides, okay, I know if I don't do this, things are just going to continue to go sour, or I'm finished. So he decides to face this one challenge head on, or face all of these challenges head on, a do or die affair. He faces it. It is your decision whether he's going to conquer it or he's going to be defeated. Whichever one you choose, it's your story. But that's what the resurrection is about. Fundamental to this beat, the resurrection, is you must show all of the lessons your hero has learned in this journey. All of these lessons must come to play at this point to reinforce his strategy to winning this final fight. Okay? Then let's say he wins this final challenge. The final beat, the 12th beat, is return with the elixir. Here, your hero returns with his reward. That reward could be peace and calm and quiet, or a return to his old life where he had that peace and normalcy and really nothing bothering him. Depends on how you want to write it, but this beat establishes the overall goal that your hero wanted to achieve. This is the stage where he gets that goal in his pocket, and he just continues to live a good life after that, depending on what you want to write. Depends on you completely. Yeah. So essentially, that is the structure. Now, let's pick a film and analyze this 12-beat structure of the hero's journey. To bring this home, I'm going to use Femi Adebayo's 7 Doors to break it down for those of us who are Africans. And there are several other Hollywood movies that will exemplify this. But of course, I like our African movies. And this particular film uses this structure perfectly well. So we're going to use it. Now, if you have not seen the film, the title is 7 Doors. It's on Netflix. You can go and watch it. You can watch it after this video and you will be enlightened. You'll get to know, you'll get to understand better what I'm going to explain. But if you've seen it, come with me. Let's break it down using the hero's journey structure. The first beat in Act 1, the ordinary world. The story establishes the ordinary life of the protagonist, the hero. Beautiful wife, beautiful family, filled with love, ordinary, comfortable life. He has everything he could ever wish for. Nothing more he's looking for. He's just living his peaceful life. That's the first beat. Then we move to the second beat, which is the call to adventure. His village, unknown to him, needs a new king. Ilara is the name of the village. The gods of the village picked that the next king should come from his lineage. Elders from his village come to the city to come invite him and beckon on him to come become the king, because he's the only one within the age grade to become king at the time. So the elders pay him a visit, inviting him to come become king. Now that leads us into the third bit, which is refusal of the call. He refuses. He says, I don't want to become king. I'm enjoying my life like this. I don't want to distort my life. I want to enjoy my life quietly like this with my family. The elders try everything. They even try to threaten him and whatnot. He doesn't budge. He's not interested. Then we move to the fourth bit, which is the final bit in Act 1. Meeting the mentor. In this film, his mentor is his spouse, his wife, played by the famous Lauren and renowned Chioma Chukwuka. She plays the role of his wife. She also doubles as the mentor because we see her begging him to accept the call. She pleads with him, telling him that she will stand by him, she will support him, and be with him through the journey. He tries to explain himself out of it. She continues to persuade him. She prevails upon him, and he accepts to go on the adventure. Then we move to the next beat, the fifth beat, and of course, the second act, right? Now, this is crossing the threshold. So he leaves the city with his family, comes to the village to start this new life, leaving his old life behind. He has answered the call of the adventure, and now he has taken the journey to begin this new life. Then from there, we move to the sixth beat. Tests, allies, and enemies. Now, he has been selected and chosen by the gods, but he has to go through certain tests to prove himself worthy. So the elders take him to this shrine. There's a room there where he has to sleep and spend the night. If he survives the night and wakes up in the morning, he's qualified. He has passed the first test. Then there's a second test where he has to go to another room and wrestle a demon or a god, whatever. If he overcomes the demon or the god, he comes out alive the following day, he will be crowned king. So having passed the test, he is now crowned king. He needs to now decipher who his allies are in this new life that he now lives and who his enemies are. And then he immediately, of course, discovers that the elders are not for him, the majority of the elders, because he is against all the shady things he had been doing before he became king. So he realizes some of the elders that are not his allies, they are his enemies, and then he forms new allies within the palace. Then we move from there to the seventh beat, which is approaching the Inmost cave. And this beat establishes some form of respite. He is close to achieving his goal of the Lara of his dreams, the Lara he wants to build for his people. Now investors are coming into the village. People are interested in bringing industries and building infrastructure in the village. Things are looking good for him. It almost looks like he's about to have a smooth sail and become the best king Ilara has ever had. Then we move from there. The story progresses slowly into the eighth beat, which is the ordeal. Tragedy strikes. His first tragedy as king. And that tragedy was so severe that it almost made him quit being king. What was the tragedy? He lost his first daughter. And so, sunk in that despair and pain, he began to question his resolve, question his coming to take the throne in the first place. I didn't want this. I didn't want to become king. I want to live. I want to get back to my life. I've already lost my daughter. I have one child left now. What do I do? Well, he overcomes all of that, consults the oracle, and they tell him, okay, remember that test we gave you. You didn't pass one, the knocking on the 7 doors. What it meant was that he had to marry 7 wives. They go around flashbacks, taking him through how all of that came to be from his ancestors and whatnot. He refuses because the normal course of his other life, he was never going to take another wife. All he wanted was to have this beautiful family that he already has and just enjoy his life. Now, aside losing his daughter, he has to break the heart of his lovely wife and marry 6 additional wives. The story progresses from the 8th beat, where that ordeal is. He accepts it at the end of the day to take these extra wives. And then the story progresses to the 9th beat, which is the reward. seizing the sword. Here, he has married the 7 wives. On the surface, it looks like everything has returned back to normal. He has some kind of peace in his community. Things are going kind of smooth on the surface, but within, he's still not very happy because there's no peace in the house. His wives are causing trouble. There's this competition and rivalry going on. He's just not having it. So he chases the wives away. All of that now leads us to the 10th bit, which is the road back. We circle back again to another tragedy. This time the tragedy involves his only surviving child, his son. He's about to lose his son. Death strikes again. Even though he does not lose the son, he is told that it's only temporary. The resurrection or resuscitation of your son is temporary. You're going to lose him and you're going to lose more. He's even at the verge of losing his kingdom because people are now protesting against his kingship. Things become completely bad. He sits over it, then decides to invite his wives back. He invites them back, apologizes to them, and he's told by the oracle that he has to love all of them equally. So he begins to love all of them equally, show them equal affection, and they begin to enjoy themselves as a family again. But it's not over yet. He now realizes that all the victory he has enjoyed in the past is not all just yet. Having even invited his wives back does not sort everything just yet. He has one more battle to fight, and that is to face the main enemy head on. If he doesn't do that, no matter what he does, everything will still keep coming back in circles. So what does he do? So that leads us to the resurrection, the 11th bit. And this is the point where he decides to take the final challenge. He's told by the elders that, see, no matter what you do, if you don't fight this demon and defeat him, you're not going to enjoy peace, no matter what you do. He arms himself up, he is fortified, and he goes right in to fight the demon called Isusu, either a demon or a god or whatnot. He fights, he wins. Now, in this fight, all of the lessons he has learned over this entire period comes to play in his victory over Isusu. He defeats Isusu and then comes out, leading us to the 12th bit, which is return with the elixir. Here, he returns to his life as king. There is peace, and there is prosperity in his land, and everything just goes smoothly from there. That is the hero's journey story structure. So if you want to write a story using the hero's journey structure, all you have to do is write all of these 12 beats down. Remember, 4 beats in Act 1, 5 beats in Act 2, and 3 beats in Act 3. Now, when you've written all of this down, you will now follow each of the beats to begin to craft your story. Everything like that, following the beats like that to craft your story, everything like that is just going to link all the way till the end. That's how to use it. The next time you see a movie, try to understand how the story was written. Try to get into the mind of the writer to know which story structure they used. Okay? That will be all for this video. In the next video, I'm going to be talking about the 3-act structure. Don't forget to like, share, and of course, leave a comment. I'll be more than glad to hear from you. Until the next video, don't forget to continue to learn, create, until you become.